We're going to demonstrate now how to put our saddle and blanket on our horse. So we're going to start off with our blanket. If your blanket has a part that's got leather stitching on it, that is going to be in the front. So that's going to be up by the withers of your horse. So the withers are, we're looking for this high point on the shoulder. You want your blanket to be covering that. When we toss our blanket up, we want it to be up high enough that as we bring it back, we're brushing the hairs the direction they naturally go. We don't want to put it back and bring it forward and kind of ruffle their feathers under the saddle. Okay, so we take our blanket, we toss it up, and again, I kind of just shimmy it back a little bit. This blanket is a little big for you, weather, a little big. Now we'll come over and we'll grab our saddle. Here, like this. So to make it easier on yourself, you can move all of your straps up onto the seat of the saddle so that as you go to put your saddle up, all of those things are not in your way. Oh, sorry, I just put a burdock on you. There you go. This way, Bubby. So we're going to go over this way. And everything's tipped up how we want it. We're going to scooch over to this side. We'll set our saddle up on our horse. We're going to turn her so she's lined up nicely. Good girl. So the very next step that we're going to do is we're going to take this blanket and we are going to lift it up. You can see under the saddle we have some space there. So we're going to lift the blanket up into that space. So we're freeing up space for our horse's shoulders to move, okay? So you should kind of arch that up, all right? Then put my stirrup up on this side. I'm going to have you come with me to the other side of our horse, and we're going to take down our cinch that we've got up in this keeper. And this is going to be another super important thing that a lot of times will get missed. You want to make sure that your cinch is lying flat. A lot of times what will happen is we'll toss our saddle up and the cinch will end up like this, and I can't tell you how many times I've come to check a cinch before a rider goes to ride, and it'll be kind of situated that way. So always go to the other side of your horse, the off side. Make sure that it looks like it's nice and straight through there and it's kind of sitting behind the shoulder. Then we're going to scoot back to the other side. So everything's straight, nothing's tucked under. We'll come back to this side. We're going to pull down our latigo strap here. We're going to grab our cinch. Now this cinch, if we can see, Jaden, has 2 rollers, okay? These actually help you to tighten your cinch. So you're going to take your latigo strap and you first go through that top strap, okay? We make sure everything there is nice and straight. I don't worry at all about tightening anything at this point. It's easier for me if I keep everything kind of loosey-goosey. The second one is going to go down through that bottom strap. Here, baby. So we'll go like this, and we'll roll that through. So those rollers actually help you to tighten your cinch. Now, if your cinch doesn't have these rollers, because some of the different cinches might not look exactly like this, you can do 2 in a row right underneath the same cinch ring. That's totally fine. So, for example, say this one didn't have that bottom ring. Then what we would do is just literally track this underneath your first one. It's the same principle, okay? But since this one has the handy rollers, we'll use them to go underneath. Again, at this point I'm doing my knot, so I'm not worried about it being tight. I do this differently than 90% of people. So I, at this point, go through here, like that, come around through the top over like this, then underneath this ring, and then down. Okay, so that's your knot. It's not tightened yet. So when I would go to tighten it, I would pull up with my left hand, down with my right hand, and tighten it. Okay, so you can do it that way. When I was first learning to ride horse, I broke my arm, and I learned how to do it that way because I only had one hand to use to tighten it. But you'll also see, we've gone through it 2 times. So most horse people will do it this way, where you tuck in and you go out this direction. And then you go across, underneath through here, and down. They are the exact same knot. It just switches up which hand is your pull up hand and your pull down hand, okay? So I'm not super great at doing it that direction, so I always just do it the opposite way. The nice thing though is if you have your cinch threaded through 2 times, it has 2 benefits, or several benefits, but one of them is if one part of your cinch breaks, the friction between the other pieces should give you enough time to kind of bail off and get situated. The other thing about it is as I'm going to tighten this cinch, I don't have to snug it down and then pull it tight right away. Again, the friction between those 2 latigo straps, or the latigo strap folded on itself, is going to keep your cinch tight. So there's less rush to get it all the way snug. So we pull up so it's snug. We pull down through here. We'll pull this through the top. Butter's like, I'll show you how I move. And then we'll go down through there. Okay? So then it's tight. If there's a tail like this, I bring it up through this keeper. Shoop. I can tuck it down like that. I bring my stirrup down. And then my saddle is ready to rock and roll. Okay? Now we're going to show you how we take it off and how we make sure that pieces of our tack aren't dragging on the ground. Okay, so we've gone for a lovely ride. We're going to take it off and go up through here, pull that tail out, undo everything here, and then I let that roll all the way down. And then I'm going to take my latigo strap. I'm going to go back through, and I can even do my knot again if I so choose, so that it's not dragging on the ground. I can just kind of retie it like that. That way it's not going to drag so much. Then we're going to go to the off side, and over here we'll grab onto our cinch again like it was when we found it. We'll bring it up here, and then we just slide it up through here and tuck that buckle, sorry Bubby, tuck that buckle in, and then it hangs like that, okay? Some of the saddles might not have that keeper if they're older, or you might not see that, but most of those saddles then you can actually hook the whole ring of your cinch to the horn, and again, just makes it so it's not gonna drag, all right? Now we're gonna go back through and we're gonna tie the whole knot again. This time I will not explain it, I'll just do it, okay? There we go. Back up, Livy. Back up. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. My backwards way. At this point, I'm still not ready to ride. I'll retighten that in a little bit to kind of let it kind of settle onto their back. I don't like to crank it tight, tight, tight right away. So we're almost ready at that point to ride. That's how you put your saddle in.